Welcome back to the Spit Out. I'm Jefferson. Alongside me, as always, the one with all the holes in his game, Swiss Cheese, and we're the Disc Golf World. We had a couple different Pro Tour events, even though they might not be on the Pro Tour. I said that wrong because they're not tour events, but they're professional events that we had scattered across the country. But before we get into that, I want to do a brief little talk about the Discmania rumors that have been floating around because you did a little brief video on it. I want to clarify just some things because it was a quicker in-your-face video that maybe some people missed details and maybe not like their fault necessarily because there's a lot of details running at you. But basically, because I think there were some people confused on what the whole for bad Discmania was. They maybe missed some of that. Where I think like the whole the direct bad thing was the closing down of the headquarters or the warehouse in Colorado.
Sure.
Along with, I'm assuming, all the employees that are no longer going to be employed there.
Yeah, I would hope that would be bad for most people in the community.
It sounds as that way.
Yes.
As well as together decade-long workers who've been around since like the OG of Discmania days. And for me, this feels really negative because the glory days of Discmania when I was like 15, 16, seeing this partnership with Innova Floors to, hey, we're our own thing now. Hey, we have a Latitude 64 sponsorship. Hey, we have these new lines. Like you saw Discmania evolve from a small sister company being attached to a big brand to its own thing to now where it seems like it's being run into the absolute ground.
Dude, what Discmania was able to do in this sport was such a grassroots growth that really as like the most modern grassroots successful story.
It feels that
and
way.
Everyone will say like MVP, but like we gotta be real that like the Conrad.
No, Discmania way more so.
Yes, Discmania is so much so, they came up with mystery boxes.
They started
that. Yes, they changed the marketing game, and so many people that were in that circle are still running stuff currently. You have UC doing Worlds. You have Dana doing Climo. You got
OTB Steve.
Like, yeah, we're talking like huge people still in the sport growing in their own categories, almost away from Discmania. And the fact that you're losing this core and you've lost those, now you're losing the last vestige of like that core is now gone.
Mm-hmm.
20 plus years of experience. I don't know. I don't understand like how that isn't bad. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't get like the concept of like why that's okay to eliminate those people with a poor track record of hiring, a poor track record of money management by HOD thus far in this process. Like, how is getting rid of the people that know what they're doing like good? Or not bad.
Why those think there's maybe a disconnect of people that think House of Discs is bad or maybe not knowing what they're doing on the like behind the scenes side. Because if you're not really paying attention to the information that's really being put out there, you might just think like, who cares? They bought all the brands. They're just doing whatever. When it seems almost internally they're messing up companies. And from what we're being told, like they don't understand necessarily how to run a disc golf business. So that's where we're seeing like, hey, you're getting all the power to certain people that are continuing to run things into the ground. And then now also Discmania has to further follow that path. Like we see it in the eyes of like, hey, like we know where it's going, where it's headed, where maybe we're looking ahead a little bit where we could be assuming some things, but looking back at all of what we know in the history of House of Discs, and we can go on and on about what that brand has been doing and the money being lost, but
and sure, like, does it affect Discmania discs being on the shelves? Most likely not. You have warehouses, you know what I mean, in Europe, Dynamic, things of that nature. They'll still have the branding. I don't think that's going anywhere. But if you can acknowledge a private equity business selling off assets to recoup some of the damage of their financial woes is not concerning when they own about damn near a third of the player sponsorships currently.
Yeah.
With their team rosters expanded as far as it is. I don't know how you can equate to put those pieces together and say, hey, this is concerning. This is like something that could foreseeably be a problem. And it's already affected Ricky's contract and Kona's contract. It's already affected other players' contracts that we know that are in the lineup with pay cuts and everything along these lines. And when you're making moves like this, all you think is like, well, where does it continue? You know what I mean? The shaving keep coming somewhere. So,
and they're setting the precedent of we're okay with cutting players or cutting salaries or not giving a fuck what it seems like.
For sure.
Yeah, you're gonna be fearful. And when you're hearing constant stories of, hey, this seems a little dirty, this doesn't seem right, or they just complete disregard and not caring of just like people, you're not gonna feel safe.
No.
So it does. I would say in that whole video where I did see maybe people were like, this is blown out of proportion or whatever nonsense you wanted to say. I wanted to clarify a little bit of like, hey, at the end of the day, people's lives were still affected, and we don't know the future of some that it's in the balance of people that don't care.
I mean, I think like with this last offseason, there's been like too much like business acumen trying to attach to this, which is kind of like newer to our sport as much as like, yes, businesses have to make money and all that, but like we're losing a sense of community and what could happen. You know what I mean? The good news is a lot of people with this company fell in line with other disc golf jobs, and they're doing good things with that, with where they're going. And I hope these two can do the same. But like, yeah, come on, man. Like, honestly, like, whatever. It is what it, man. It is what it is. Like,
yeah, we're gonna see. It's gonna be a developing story. We're still hearing more and more information.
And I always do find at times, like, no matter what, like, even when I say like, I am saying this out loud, there'll still be somebody in the comment be like, I can't believe you said this.
Yeah.
Like, or I'm not saying this. And then
like, that's not what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
like,
totally.
But yeah, so I think people misinterpret it. And like, I think, and yeah, our titles are the classic thing to kind of go after. You know what I mean? If you disagree with a video, you're going to go attack our titles, which is fine. So,
yeah. So we did have some prestigious disc golf tournaments, I would even say. We had one of my favorites of all time. I love De La Viega. So the Santa Cruz Masters Cup always has a special place in my heart. And I honestly had no idea that this was going on this weekend or that there was going to be coverage until I was looking through like YouTube just every night as I do. And I was like, oh, this is Masters Cup? Like the Masters Cup? And it's just like a really interesting thumbnail choice of like a blue background, like not even using the course at all, just picture of a player. And I was like, yeah, cool. But yeah, got to see some Masters Cup. De La, awesome course, turns the 29 hole layout to 18 of harder because De La is just filled with like short shots, but make use of it. And what I really like about this course is the history that you hear along with it.
Yes.
The amount of times that you're going to hear the Barsby Ace story, or you're going to hear the refrigerator hole, or whatever other like numerous stories being told. There's not a lot of places I feel like part of disc golf that are showcased like this about the history to it.
No, and I think this is kind of where it's missing. Like the extent of like disc golf history we do is like the classic D-Glow, Paul's -18, like highlight reel, Philo's Albatross. Like, so it's like just glimpses of highlights, but like there's just, yeah, there's too much there to not like expose, use, and like ultimately like exploit in video form. And so it's kind of neat. And it's like, it's got such a history. It's got so many years. It's just one of those that you kind of have to check off. And to get a dub there is pretty neat.
This year, it was also a Q series for the DGPT. So it adds that little prestige to it as well. So kind of on tour. Definitely not really at all. But
I haven't looked. Are they doing the Q series points? Are they showing those?
So
it might be early.
What I don't know if they're showing them anywhere else like, necessarily. I haven't seen it, but Statmando has a very more accessible like way of finding them. Where before it was like a pain in the ass to find any information, but now it is kind of upfront. You can find it all, which was actually pleasantly like dope because I got to do that in today's video. So that was I got to showcase that more, and you get to see like how many events they play, top tens, where their points are coming from, and all that. So that's going to be easier to follow along with. But it does seem like also this year that the DGPT is just throwing out Q series wherever they can, whoever will take it. Because even this weekend, you had 2 different Q series going on. Granted, they're on literally the opposite coasts. So I guess that's fair because that's the hardest part about the Q. Yeah, making that geographically makes sense for people that aren't pros, that aren't really traveling like that. So I don't mind that at all. But we're going to talk about the Masters Cup. And you had a bunch of touring pros play there. They're on their way on that West Coast tour, so they didn't really have a whole lot going on. So might as well go play an event, like I said, as historical as Masters Cup, a battle between Gannon Burr and Nicholas Ansela, the Discmania boys.
I know.
Really, like, they're pushing along. As much as we had the Discraft hype before in the off season, Discmania stealing the show.
I think those two, when they're on, they've battled before. They got history at other majors. You know what I mean? They put together a show when they're both on. I think Gannon and Nicholas's battles, head-to-head battles, might be one of the most entertaining.
Like of all time?
No, currently in today's game. Like, give me a better battle that you want.
Head to head, coming down to the end.
Apart from like everybody who wants like the Ricky Paul for like nostalgia,
Everyone
like
wants that.
everyone wants that. But let's be real, like, all right, what's gonna keep my attention between these two? And I think a lot of people still say like AB Gannon, but like I think I'll do Antela and Gannon versus.
Really,
I'll take that over
might
AB
be a hot
Gannon.
take. I think that probably is a hot take.
I'll take it.
Yeah, and I think the only thing that's gonna take my edge to more of the AB Gannon is it makes absolutely no sense. I'm sure that people are gonna not agree with this, or at least some of them. Of Discraft for AB, Discmania for Gannon, and I do in my head I like the non-sponsored. Like, to me, it's just I'm holding on to that. Part of me is still like, all right, they're different teams, even though again it's an individual sport. It has no bearing. It doesn't matter, but still.
I suppose, yeah. Those days are gone, buddy. There used to be like,
I think it'll come back eventually. We're just in a weird phase.
I think
the manufacturers.
No shot does it ever come back.
Of
no shot. I disagree with that.
Why?
Like, nobody can compete with what Discraft is doing except for MVP, but MVP is going to run a smaller roster, and Innova's already decided that they player. So like, where's the competition coming from? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, nah.
Well, I feel like there's going to be smaller teams in general, and that's where it's going to fix. We're not going to see as deep of a field. We're going to see a lot less sponsored pros. Okay. I think even that's going to have more opportunities for smaller companies that have a little less cash flow. But there's still going to be a majority of people that want to tour. So they're going to take the less contracts for more obscure brands. Okay. So I think that's going to open up like the more elite players are going to be separated between MVP, Discraft, Innova, maybe Latitude 64, maybe Discmania, depending on what House of Disc does.
Yeah.
And you're going to see like squads of like 3 elite, like MPO, and probably FPO, maybe 2. To maybe 5. Like if you're Discraft, you're going to run a deeper team. But
yeah, I admit
that's cash flow.
I just don't think it's going to happen. Like I think those days are gone. Like it used to matter. They used to talk trash. They used to, you know what I mean? Nah, that's.
Well, I don't think they're talking trash or nothing like that. It's just, yeah, we'll see. The other Q series we did have across the coast, we had, I can't remember blanking the name. We had the Cosmic Open. Yes. The first A tier, I guess technically higher with the Q series, but we'll count it at Maple Hill in, I think since like 2008 or something like that. Very, very long time ago, because it was just when you had like the Pro Tour come along, that was just the event. And then for like the early on, majority of like the local people could still get in because it's pro disc golf. It wasn't going to like close up. However, when it was turned into a playoff event, majority of those local players were kind of kicked out. So no longer could they play Maple Hill in like an actual event that was like had some status to it. So for years and years, that was shunned away from the local community. It is now back. So I heard that those locals were thrilled for that experience. And you still had some dope people there. You had Simon Lazat show up, Harry Chase, the 2 people from tour, Landon Brooks, the young up-and-comer, Glitch World champion. You had the collegiate champ from this past season playing in it. So you had a pretty cool lead card to watch. Day 1, absolute shit show in the rain. I think Simon shot, like, I can't even remember what it was. It was super low, but the rating was absolute fire. But, I mean, it's upsetting for a Q series because you had Simon just run away with it. Yeah. Just run down on it. However, Landon Brooks taking second, shot up to 3rd place in the Q series standings.
Nice.
So, I mean, it did have some sort of impact.
That kid's sharp. That kid can ball.
Disc golf world fan too.
Yeah,
So
like
hey,
he is talented every time I watch him throw.
super young.
Like there's just certain players, like I don't know how to explain it, that just kind of pop off like the screen, and he's kind of one of them. He really is. Like you're just like, wow.
Well, yeah, I feel like he's so young and small, and he still do some amazing things with the disc.
I wish they did more A tiers there. I think there's room to do it. Like I really do. But I'm sure that I don't know what that does with the schedule, but I think they should do more.
Yeah,
Especially at Maple.
I know there's some strict restrictions on how you can run A tiers and what events are nearby and how many you can run, stuff like that. And I'm sure like the logistics on Steve Dodge and all that nonsense, but I'm glad that they have something back. I'm glad it's the best course in the country. You want more and more things that going on there, right? That only makes sense.
Shout out for Cosmic for making that happen.
Yeah.
Too. Absolutely.
Absolute legend. Moved it from, it was normally played at Stafford Woods. That was impending danger. So they moved it. Now it's back. And I just had a phone call with him earlier today. And then he's going to bring a different event back to Stafford. So now you're going to he's going to be running something at Stafford and Maple every year, which is kind of a banger lineup. I'm not going to lie. So shout out to Cosmic Dave for that one, running a solid event. It was fun to watch along too. I actually watched post coverage for this one because it's my friend, and I convinced myself to sit through it if it's for my friend. Even though yes, I would absolutely ran away from it. It's just so boring. It's just slow, dude. Like you have maybe one person killing it on coverage, and then it's like, man, I gotta watch this guy being shoot way over. But you know, I got through it, sat through it. We did it. Last event we had from the past weekend was the Tim Selinsky U.S. Masters. The
Nate Sexton red carpet rollout.
It was
like save MP40 through our PDGA coverage. They unveiled it. Like they made sure everybody knew he was going to be there. Cool thing. Neat to be able to like turn 40 a few days before the event and then actually play and then go on to win it. So that's kind of a neat thing.
Not only that, we did really bad this first round and came back with 3 straight hot rounds to win.
Yeah.
Just kind of did it in a baller fashion.
Now, like, we've heard a little bit of like inklings, especially when we're on the road. There has been like teases and conversations about like, do you think there could be a 40s tour?
Dude, no, I just don't.
Even with Sexton, even with Germ, even with Yuli,
like on its it's on its complete separate own.
Man, I'm not like saying like doing like a 13 stop. I'm saying like, all right, do a major run tour where it's like four events in like 8 weeks.
I mean, I just don't think logistically, no. I don't think you have the eyes on it. I don't think you can pay enough people to make it happen. You can do. I mean, I think that it's going to make the next major runs more popular because you're always going to have coverage on those. And I feel like you're going to continue to see Nate Sexton, Paul Oman, Kayla Viska. And then in the next coming, every year you're going to get someone I feel like else. You're like, oh, I know that guy. Right? I remember that name. Right? You don't even have Joe Revere here, who usually dominates Masters stuff. Yeah. So I think that now you are going to get a little bit more exposure to that, which maybe even could create a bigger fan base. And I still think that there's such, and that you obviously haven't seen today's video yet, but I go off on, I think that there's such a better way, and we talk about this every fucking time, but there's such a better way to showcase these events and relay the information of what Masters is, what went down in the event than 5 hours plus of post coverage. Like I could be interested in this. I am to an extent of Nate Sexton, Paul Oman, and Kayla Viska, that type of battle with this who is Daniel Polk kind of storyline. But man, I'm not even getting that in the commentary for half the time. And yeah, I think that there is interesting stories. The more similar players we see and we know, the more interesting it will be. And we'll pay attention more, and at least we'll cover it more here.
I get the like idea of it, what people like say the names, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'll try.
I think you maybe get creative and along with the pro tour, like have like a separate, like a pro tour kind of does something smart, and they're like, "Yo, we're gonna throw some MP40, like some slot cards there." I think maybe they can get smart and do that, which I wouldn't even be opposed. I feel like they would do that, get shit on, and I would like that idea. Because I feel like to an extent too, you would see like how many people of them, like the Nate Sexton, the Big Germ, are they competing? When they would
where
be,
they go?
yeah, when they could be if it was more age protected. To like I said, to an
I think it
extent.
really depends on the purse, but yeah, I would assume that it would be the purse that kind of decides
Mhm.
when you got to put gas in the tank.
The thing too is they do have a Masters tour,
Yes, I know.
so I guess they could do that. But I don't know if there's like real coverage of it. But maybe once you
No.
start getting names, you can get the coverage. But then again, it's just the same old coverage anyways. I hate how I keep saying I want more of like I said, I just explained how I would watch this. It's just gonna turn into we're gonna do it. Like we're gonna end up making those videos.
What videos?
The one like fast paced Masters videos. And it's gonna annoy me because then I'm gonna have to watch all the post produced. That's my way of watching it, is forcing myself into doing a job, and then
Maybe we should just do that and like kick down the door and show up to like one of these, like either some major that's a PDGA major and like an obscure juniors or this or that, and just be like, all right, man, let's just blitz this coverage. And
I would do collegiate. I feel like there's a thing we could do there.
try to get media passes and be like, all right, we're gonna film everything and do next day coverage.
Collegiate would be sick.
Collegiate would be, yeah, I would. Yeah.
There's a true
Yes.
possibility there.
Yeah. That's also like, whatever, man. That we're too perfect of a fucking fit for collegiate. Like if you ask me, like as I say that, swearing, but like,
Yeah.
but like, anyways, like I think like that's more of a fit to like getting into what that could be than anybody else.
At least it seems that disc golf is more willing to experiment, because we just had the announcement of the Creator Challenge going down at the Discmania Challenge over in Des Moines, where we had some personalities paired up with professionals. We can go down the list a little bit. I'm not sure if you guys have seen
That was
this
like
already.
a weird, awkward personality.
Well, I was trying to figure out a way,
Like
because
you're-
you have disc golf content creators, but then you also have the host from the Part T podcast, if you're familiar, which is Christine Jennings and Hannah Macbeth. But you also have randomly James Makes Music, who I'm not sure who is that. I have never heard of this person before for content or disc golf. So it felt a little strange for that. But then you have the classic Bodanza, Jay Milley, Robbie C. Broderick, and the Foundation crew. So the staples of disc golf content creation, I would say. You're missing one guy.
We're missing Bear Bite.
Missing Bear
That's
Bite.
so stupid. Like honestly, like this is such a poor move, because like I don't know. Say what you will, he's gonna be on front of the camera and he's gonna say something. He's gonna try to be entertaining. It's gonna be different. And that's what I really hope like these content creators go into understanding. A, your job is to make content surrounding you going to do this content series, and B, also it is to entertain.
Mm-hmm.
And I think too many of them will go in there not to try to screw up. But I think there's a few that are of that list that will try to entertain.
I don't know if they'll try to entertain necessarily, because, man, I just feel like they're all going to be like reserved to a point.
Man, like that's the funny, like, man,
I hope Broderick like drops an F-bomb on
Should.
camera. Like that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Like I'd be so.
he's
down
one of the
for
ones that I have hope for. That like I think he knows what to do to entertain. He knows where the cameras is to work it and everything along those lines. It depends. Like, are people gonna try to play this serious? Are they gonna like? I hope not. That's not what it's really.
Well, you
meant
have
to.
a whole bunch of different like twists and stuff too. Because alternate shot doubles, plus you're going to have what says here like ace run challenges, where you get 3 attempts to try to hit the chains. They have what are spin to throws, which means you have to spin on a wheel to determine the throw type. So you get like either forehand roller, tomahawk, or even a lefty throw. It says fan substitutes, so a creator can select a fan to throw. So they're trying to do something different. They're trying to like do something, and they're gonna have tickets for $10. I don't know if anyone ever goes. I don't know if there's gonna be any spectators, but you're going to have an extra live stream on the dgpt YouTube channel for free. At least they learned about that one.
That was smart. Yeah.
Dude, if they made people pay for this, if this was DGN exclusive, nobody's watching. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Yeah, I don't know the pull of that fandom.
I think they're really just banking on, content creators, tell all your peeps, which could totally work. Like I'm on paper, yeah,
It
it works.
might. I don't know how many people aren't watching pro that watch those guys' content. That's
But it would be a good split. I
that
feel
would
like
be.
more than you think, though.
I would kind of agree with
I think
that, but like
majority.
yeah. So I don't know, but this is now been like if you guys aren't paying attention, like this is a list of new things. Whether it's the Jomez practice rounds that are now being recorded, you have match play, you have this, you got like they're trying some new things on off days to pull in extra additional revenue, views, things of that nature. And I hope it works. I think it's just kind of trial and error, see what sticks, and then kind of go with it. Do I think this content creator could stick? It's got to be entertaining for one. And I don't know. I think Jefferson's just a little jilted that he didn't get invited.
Nah, not even.
That everyone's gonna take that.
Well, we didn't even get media passes for this event. We're not gonna get invited to play into the fucking thing, dude. I think I'm a little bit worried because when we do talk about what I want out of this, yes, I would want to be hearing a lot of the conversations between the content creator and the players, the banter like that. And I don't know if we're gonna get that because it seems like every time it's here's the dgpt event live or whatever, it's just the standard. Like we're still gonna get commentary people, we're still gonna get the natural switch here to the next one to the next one to the, so I don't know. It's just
well, so it is going to be interesting. I think they're going to try to take that approach. I hope they take that approach. I think also I think it would be foolish not to think like or realize that even this alternate shot doubles, the conversation, like, you know what I mean? Like that's all going to come into play, like for possible future things, like the way they're trying stuff. You don't try this stuff. It's to entertain, but it's also to see what sticks to kind of use for future.
mm-hmm.
No, I don't think they're gonna do like the fucking wheel of death spin. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. But like, it could, I suppose. But I don't know. It's hard to get behind this. It really is. But Bear Bites should be there.
Shout out Bear
Yeah,
Bite.
man. Honest, no, like really, like as far as like, come on, man. Like if I'm gonna take a bet on somebody who I know is gonna be the loudest and like entertain, it's Bear Bite. And I can't say that about the rest. I
No.
really, you know what I mean? Like,
But maybe they're a little scared of that, man. He's a wild card.
I
You can't
guess.
control the beast.
Yeah, I guess. Like, but like, whatever. Like,
Whatever, man. It's content creator channel.
I
just
do.
not
Yeah,
that
man.
big,
I
right?
thought like, who's gonna win?
Looking at this, I'm going Gannonburn and Jay Millie.
I got a good dynamic too.
We're gonna have Ben Kenny on the bag too,
Ben Kenny is on the bag. Funzy,
and you're gonna probably have the other guy. So yeah, that's what I feel. All right, last little topic that I want to talk about because it's way too late for us to be doing that. Sorry, guys. Sorry, it says 11 p.m. But we had disc golf tournament stuff that we were doing. Then we're going to talk about at the end of this podcast. So stay tuned. There is more betting for disc golf. I don't know if you caught this. I think I just saw it right before this
I haven't heard
dropped. Is Hold My Bag. You're aware with this platform
Yes.
now. Now there is an option for you to have a $10 entry fee to win prizes. I think the top prize like $1,000 or like $3,000, something like that. But yeah, you can now pay to enter. Pick I think it's the same shit, but now you pay and you have a possibility of winning. So it's just a little extra way for people to have some incentive, some more gambling.
Yeah.
$10 entry fee, $1,000 top prize. Top 10% of people get paid.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see how many people partake, but if it hits off.
You don't think a lot of people are?
Huh?
You don't think a lot of people are?
I think it's too new to like kind of see, but yeah, I think it could I think it could do numbers for sure.
I think this is going to definitely add to become a segment on the weekly preview type things. This is and hopefully if the petting's reliable and comes out at a good decent time, but they're really going on in this fantasy disc golf thing, which kind of cool. Hopefully they're getting paid for all of it at least. Like hopefully it's working. Like, don't just sell out the fans.
It makes sense. Like, man, there's daily fantasy. There's in the other sports, so why not kind of latch on? I think they saw an opportunity. Like there's so many are like, so yeah, I think it should work. I think it's kind of an interesting concept. It is kind of weird to like, I shouldn't say weird, but like I know they had this last year, and you know what I mean. I kind of watched everything along those lines, but to come out and be attached with the DGBT to be promoted like this it's like, all right, this is
It's pretty legit.
yeah, yeah. It definitely makes you like kind of turn your head and be like, okay, like all right, like, yeah, I'm out. Let's see how this works.
Mm-hmm.
So when you jump out early like that, so there's a lot of factors that are going to determine that success. It's going to be the participation. It's going to be the quality of like ease of access, and you know what I mean, everything along those lines. And we'll see. But it's an interesting concept. I think it could work. I hope it does. We need more. We need something else.
I want everything to work in disc golf.
Huh?
I want us to all be popular, all of us to prosper together.
I hope. Yeah. Yeah. I hope.
That's going to wrap up everything that went down in disc golf this past weekend. We did have a couple tournaments. They weren't really major type things. Well, technically one of them was a major, but whatever. I want to highlight we have a disc golf tournament coming your way if you're local to the Round Lake-ish area. We have Fairfield Doubles coming at you June 21st. $500 prize pool for the pro side, and then on the amateur side, you have an opportunity for 36 different CTPs, as well as a collaboration beer going out with the Black Lung Brewery. It's going to be a sick beer. We were just there all day. That's why we were, well, not all day, but whatever. That's what we were there just doing.
We
all
were
that
actually
stuff.
brewing our beer, which is kind of neat. But black party afterwards. So even if you can't make the tournament, there's going to be plenty to kind of show up, raffles, giveaways, try our beer. And it's gonna be a blast, and we're gonna try to do big things.
Yep. So if you want to help donate, support in any type of way, definitely let us know or play along in it. We're trying to fill this bitch up. So hopefully we can see you there, see you doing all types of things. That's the end of this podcast.
Later, guys.